I think it adds to the mix. And if you've noticed that the European banks, under the old Washington Agreement, it was, as it was called, can sell 500 tons of gold a year as a group, and they get allocations to do that. And that adds up to about 9,000 tons a week. Excuse me. 900 tons a week. It's which one or the other. I can't remember. But anyway, they're doing like 10% of that. So for the last 6 months or so, they haven't been selling hardly any gold at all, which tells me they either don't have it or they don't want to let it go anymore.
And in a depression in the real economy, you still have metals rising, so they're going against the tide.
Well, they do both. We're entering into a hyperinflationary phase. The Treasury and the Fed have committed themselves to the expense of $14.8 trillion.
All right, stay there. We got a break. When we come back, finish up with that, Bob Chapman.
There must be some kind of way out of here.
All right, your calls are coming up here in just a moment at 1-800-259-9231. I'm Alex Jones. Our website's ourprisonplanet.tv. Whatistheendgame.com, jonesreport.com, Infowars.net. All those sites have a lot of the same info, but each site has stuff that's special just to it. Okay, let's go back to Bob Chapman. Okay, Bob, you were trying to say something when you got cut off by the break.
Well, they're committed for $14.8 trillion now, and they just announced that the FOMC, which is the Federal Open Market Committee, which is the representatives of the 12 Federally Reserve banks which own the Federal Reserve, and they're talking about before the end of the year, and my guess is before the end of the summer, that they're going to spend $1.75 trillion additional bailing different entities out and buying this garbage bonds on the exchanges. I figure...
Bob, stop right there. Speaking of garbage bonds, you've got a garbage line. It's even worse than it was. Call us right back again, okay? Let's see if it's better this time. Sorry.
Okay.
And then when Bob calls back in about 1 minute from his undisclosed third world country location, we will. He's a great analyst at the biggest silver and gold brokerage firm, biggest newsletter, and went into retirement and came back out of retirement and now lives abroad. He's in different parts of the world, different seasons of the year, and he's got a really bad phone line today. It's normally a very good phone line, but I guess this country isn't too good where he's at right now. I wanted to bring up the AAA rating because they're running around saying, oh, do whatever the bankers want, give us total power over your lives, or we'll lose our AAA rating and have a depression. Remember they said, give us a blank check and no oversight, no one can investigate us on October 3rd, or we'll have a depression next week. And then they stole $14.8 trillion so far, 7 months later, and we're in worse shape. And it'll get worse and worse, and they'll give us new politicians, and they'll promise to fix it. It'll get worse and worse because they all come from the same mothership. They all were laid by the same goose. They're all chips off the same block. They're apples off the same apple tree. What other ridiculous parallels and analogies and parables can I engage in here? Offshore private banks have hijacked the planet. They control the military and most of the police departments of the country. They control most nations. They brag. They're on record. It's all over the news. And they're going to give us no quarter. They don't want us to have good lives. They don't want us to be free. Now, I know a lot of police and military aren't part of this, and we salute those of you that are fighting against it. We understand that they haven't been able to carry out pure tyranny yet because most of you won't go along with it. And a lot of the citizens won't go along with it. That is why they need to come out and have all these TV shows and movies where torture is good and secret arrest is good. And then in the real world, not just in dramas with suspended disbelief, with 24 and all these other shows. But in the real world, they come out and explain to you why torture is good for 8 years and why torturing people's children in front of their parents is good. And then now Obama comes out and says, well, I'm against that. But I am for secret arrest, secret detention, and harsh interrogation, which is torture. So they play all these semantical games, and then Obama and Cheney have this head-to-head debate, head-to-head dueling speeches to make it look like the left and right are fighting with each other, because that's how the establishment stays in power, because if you ever realize they're all working for each other on the same team, it's over. So it's like two actors having a fight. And Dick Cheney, with his incredibly low approval rating, knows, it's probably even Karl Rove's idea, that doing all of this and coming out and attacking Obama will make the torture position look good. And what is Obama's torture position? We're going to protect Bush and protect the White House lawyers and protect Cheney for breaking the law and ordering the torture of people and their children. Incredible Nuremberg, type crimes. Open and shut case. So, see, Obama says, I'm protecting you. I'm going to block this. I'm going to continue secret arrest. I'm going to continue secret detention. I'm going to keep black sites and ghost sites open worldwide. But by Cheney coming out and attacking him, that gives Obama the cover. This is elementary brainwashing. It's elementary. Bob Chapman, let's see if your line's better. Back to the economy. Losing the AAA rating, GM going under, 600+ thousand jobs being lost a month after month. Inflation went really at about 18%. I mean, this is cratering quickly. Bob, you've been saying you thought, and other analysts have agreed, that maybe the stimulus would stave off total collapse and we would just slide into a slow depression. But are you revising that, or are you saying this is light compared to what's coming?
Well, I'm not revising anything because I have found over a period of time that these people are very good at what they do. And so they're going to have to go into major inflation to stave off what's going on. I heard rumors and information that had come out of the Bilderberger meeting that they were going to have a quick depression and it was over with because they were concerned that they couldn't control it.
No, that was confirmed sources. No, that's confirmed, Bob. You're right.
Yeah, and I disagree. I don't think they can do it. I don't think they can control it. One of the other things I wanted to address this afternoon, is that we had another bank failure, the largest in some time, number 34 for the year, $12.6 billion in assets, deposits of $4.6 billion. Question number one, why is this bank being allowed to go under when the 19 major banks in the country have all been, at least temporarily, saved by injections from the Federal Reserve?
That's right. They're really insolvent, and so they're using taxpayer money to gobble up all the little healthy banks, as you said 2 years ago they would do. And even mainstream media admits that big corporate, London Telegraph a few days ago, big corporate raiders are using this banker bailout as cover to actually raid their healthy, smaller competition and then give the pieces to themselves. I mean, this is just incredibly criminal.
I'm going to bear that out, Alex, because the next thing I was going to tell you that this bank, largest in Florida, is being taken over by a consortium. And one of them is Blackstone, the other is Carlyle Corporation, and the third, I can't remember the name of it, but they're all involved in the Illuminati. And so, just like you just said that I said 2 years ago, they're going to go in and gobble it all up for pennies on the dollar.
Because they control the federal regulators. Well,
that's right.
Now, of course, we don't hear about all the other banks that quietly go under. They just get taken over.
Well, they merge them. And this is why Ron Paul's 1207 is so important. Go to every member of the House, tell them you want it out of committee, you want it passed, badger them to death. Because it's working. We just went from 120 to 179 co-sponsors. We're doing the right thing. Yeah, this could help us big time.
We need a headline on that at prisonplanet.com or Infowars.com. 179 sponsors. If they get, another 50 or so, They're going to be able to pass this in the House, and then can you imagine the Senate voting it down, the political firestorm as we educate the public that a private bank rules us, has engineered the crisis, and that we're not allowed to audit them. And if anybody denies it, we have Bernanke and Greenspan and all of these people on TV saying we're above the law, no agency, no government, no branch of government, no one can audit us, and in private lawsuits you can't sue. I mean, this is ridiculous. I mean, are they the new divine right of kings?